What's up guys, it's Ryan. Welcome back to another video. If you don't know me, I am a real estate investor and private jet pilot. I fly a Gulfstream G650, and thank you guys so much for the feedback on the last video that I posted that I'll put a little thing there for about private jet pilot salaries and the industry and what we get paid. That video had some great response, like 30 or 40,000 views now at this time. And if you're new here and you just subscribed, I appreciate you subscribing and welcome you to the channel. I like to provide aviation, business, real estate, and lifestyle content for you guys based around what I do and provide any value that might be able to help you in your aviation or real estate career, or just if you're getting started as a young person trying to get to the next level. So in today's video, I wanted to share with you something that I think would provide value to a lot of pilots out there, especially those interested in the corporate aviation side of things, in that side of the industry. And that is, I'm going to share with you one of our flight plan packages and go over what an international flight plan looks like. This is something that I had never seen until I was actually working at this flight department. Previously, we had used ForeFlight and flightplan.com to use as flight planning service providers when I worked just as a flight instructor or for private charter companies around the US. So we actually use Universal Weather and Aviation, which is one of the standard big service providers as far as handling and flight planning services for big private aviation companies. So if you ever get hired for a department that uses this service, or if you might be interested in subscribing to this service for your own aircraft management company or your charter company, this will give you a good look inside as to what this flight package consists of, the flight plan, the weather details, all the weather information, routing, and how it's structured and laid out, and how we use it in the cockpit and before and after the flight. So we'll get into my computer and show you guys what our typical international flight plan looks like. All right, here we are guys. So welcome inside a international flight plan based on the service provider Universal Weather and Aviation. It is a common provider that international flight departments use. And I've taken out some of the branding, some of the aircraft, the date information and stuff like that, just for privacy concerns for the operator for this flight plan. But this will give you a good look as to what to expect if you get on with an international operator or somebody that uses this service. So the front page here will have some branding usually, and it'll say to the pilot, usually the PIC on the flight plan, the aircraft registry, and the type of aircraft, the date, time sent, number of pages, and some information on your service center. For us, we use the European Operations Center. They also have a service center in Dallas and some other departments, depending on where you are in the world and what kind of aircraft you're flying. And then on the main page, this will be the trip summary. So this is what we look at as the overview of what flight we're commencing that day. This trip summary will have the departure and arrival ICAO airport codes here. This one is Luton, London to Cairo, Egypt. And it will also have an estimated time of departure, estimated arrival in Zulu, as well as local time, the FAR Part 91 or 135, whatever you might be, and the en route time here. Usually a flight number if that's applicable, and then the route string. So this route string is kind of cool because you can just copy and paste this into your Jeppesen view or your ForeFlight or any app on your iPad if you're backing up your flight with your iPad, which we normally do in the cockpit to see where we're at and look at different FIR information, etc. Speed, what you're filed for, the flight level and the fuel burn, and then your different permissions here if you have landing or overflight permits involved in your flight planning. Slot coordination, slot details, which is common in Europe, especially at airports like Nice or into certain parts of the UK. In this, we did have a confirmed departure slot out of London. And then handling details on this end of this page. This will show who your handlers are, the FBOs you're using, and what services have been arranged, as well as their phone numbers and contact information. So you can use this top sheet for just about everything to get a good overview of your flight. And then this is cool. The start of the flight plan will have a recall number The SATCOM direct flight plan recall number it'll be uniform and usually 4 digits. This is awesome because we can input our flight plan into the airplane digitally through the SATCOM data link service. So instead of typing in every point or every airway on our flight plan, we can type in a number and it will uplink it directly to the airplane, which saves a lot of time and also saves a lot of mistakes. And then we just verify that with the flight plan once it's uploaded. So really, really cool having that kind of technology. And then here is the overview flight plan with the different fuel requirements, our route string again, and the average winds and weather information. And then a area where you can put in the departure ATIS. You can put in your fuel out, fuel in, burned, and some of your flight details, as well as compare altimeters for RVSM checks. So this is pretty cool. This is the best view where you're going to get your fuel information. And keep in mind that these lines here is just because I'm in an Adobe PDF editor. This normally wouldn't be here, but I had to edit out some things. So yeah, to the destination would require 12,283 pounds of fuel burn with 2,146 as our 45-minute reserve, and then another 1,313 to the alternate. Then you could account for holding fuel, extra required fuel, taxi, extra, and then a total fuel. So normally we want to be at or above the total fuel required and give ourselves a certain fair margin so that we never have to worry about fuel problems and we can still be within weight and balance. So pretty cool. And then it'll have a takeoff landing weight calculated based on their calculations that you could double check with the FMS in the airplane or with your performance handbooks. Moving along, you'll have every single point now shown in that route string in point-by-point order. So from the airport to Charlie Papa Tango to Vapid to Golf Whiskey Charlie. This is very similar to like what's going to be in your FMS inside the airplane. And again, these boxes won't be here. It's just because it's on editor mode. But you'll have lat longs, a flight level or a phase of flight, here being climb. Stuff like true airspeed, ground speed, magnetic course, magnetic heading, and different calculations here. Burn of fuel accumulated, actual and remaining times, and actual and estimated fuel flow and fuel remaining. So you'll see this at every point. So if you wanted to see the estimated fuel remaining here, at Golf Whiskey Charlie, it would be 15,792 pounds based on the fact that you took off with that total fuel number of 17,683. And you've got this through the entire flight plan. So you can cross-check this with what's going on in the airplane as you're flying. And then you'll notice here, like this minus LFFF, these are the different FIR boundaries. So when you're flying internationally, you have different countries' airspace boundaries, FIR, flight information regions, or OCAs, oceanic regions, that you'll clear into. So after this point, this would be the exit point into the next FIR region. So that's something to take into account if you're clearing into new airspace. These are where you'll expect off handoffs to new controllers and potentially new squawk codes. And we'll just go through here all the way. Here's another one. And to our destination. And then it'll even calculate a top of descent for you, TOD there. So you can see how far away that is from your destination, how much fuel you should have burned, etc. And it'll give you the VOR frequencies to back up with on the flight plan there on your route into our airport. And then it'll also give us a alternate based on Mach long range cruise speed to the alternate, top of climb to the alternate, top of descent into our alternate. And then it'll have a coded flight plan with all of our equipment codes, etc. And this stuff will be on the actual ICAO flight plan form. So this is not the official ICAO flight plan form. We have that separate, the actual flight plan form, but this is just the flight plan package that we utilize in the cockpit. So there's a lot of good information here, and it's cool to see because the way that flight plans were laid out on other softwares were pretty different than this when I first got started using this service. And then it's cool what Universal does here is they've got the meteorologist flight overview. So you can read this and get a good overview of the weather for the flight, departure, destination, and alternate with your TAFs, PIREPs, METAR information, solar activity, space weather outlook, SIGMETs along your route, and you get a full briefing, just like if you go to, for your different airports. So you can read through all the different NOTAMs for the airports you're coming from, going to, alternates, and charts. So you got your winds and temps aloft, flight route. It'll show the different route of flight across the countries. High level significant weather. So basically everything that you'd find on like the NOAA Aviation Weather Service page, or anything you'd get from a full briefing from ForeFlight or another provider, is right here, all in one nice package. And then it finishes with a passenger destination weather outlook, where your passengers, you could provide this to them in the back and they could see what the weather is going to be like at the time of destination. So pretty neat. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope this was of value, and like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the aviation content. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.